up, dude?
What's up, man? How are you?
For those who don't know, and probably everybody doesn't know, this is Jaron. He's a photographer, videographer for all the high quality, amazing stuff that you've been seeing on Instagram and YouTube and all the other interviews and photos, and pretty much has taken over a creative director role for Furlow and its brand. So I wanted to take the time today to kind of sit down with him, since he's usually behind the scenes, and let you guys get to know him and us kind of chop it up about where we started and where we're at now and where we're going to go. So let's get it going.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. Thanks for putting me in front of the camera. It's clearly where I want to be since I chose a profession behind it. But yeah, we figured, it'd be good to get our creative brains together, since, we're very used to putting the vision together for everything we want. And, the imagery behind music is a really, really important piece to the music itself. So through that, our relationship has grown very close. And we thought, what better way to tie a knot on the garden than to talk about it, talk about the experiences that we've had from a working relationship, all the way from 1995 to now, and how that's grown and how that's changed and what we're looking at in the future. So
yeah, I think what's crazy about that project in general, the 1995 project, it's like I've released 5 albums and 6 mixtapes, whatever, before 1995, but I really feel like 1995 was like the first step in the door for some reason. Not only like musically, but we never had the Instagram train rolling. We never even thought about content, thought about where can we take a audible thing and make it visual. And so starting working with you, I started to view music differently, because I could actually see, okay, so when I'm making a song, okay, what is some content we could do for it? How can we make this song look? And I think that's super important for artists moving forward. And I'm just extremely thankful and blessed to have met you or re-met you.
Yeah.
So a little backstory. His older brother, Ryan, is someone I grew up with. I've known since like 2nd grade. And so I've known him pretty much his entire life.
Yep.
I go off to college and I'm still best friends with Ryan to this day, but I never really, I would say I never really caught up with you, but like never really kept up with you is the word I was looking for.
Yeah. We never connected, and I lived out of state after college and into my adulthood, and all these things, and then it was kind of a full circle moment for us to meet back up and be like, oh, we already have like just that connection, at least, not necessarily a relationship together. A familiarity that definitely helped. And it also could have hurt. It could have been weird if we didn't vibe as much as we did.
I think the only thing that would have made it difficult is if you sucked or I sucked.
Yeah, that's true.
When it comes to, I'm huge on business and relationships. More important relationships than business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like to keep everything close knit. I like to have people around me, and we move accordingly and kind of can have ideas bounce off of each other. And sometimes when you work with people, it's like their way or no way, and same with the artist or visual person. But it would have been different if you didn't already have quality stuff and vice versa.
Sure.
So, and just working together, it's like, okay, let's take these 2 completely different sides and make it one, and it work out. So I'm glad that not only were we familiar, but the content on both ends of the spectrum were quality enough to make it work.
Sure, yeah. And, and that was a good jumping off point. And then, you look at the growth in both of us in our respective fields through these last, almost 3 years now. And what a crazy difference it's made.
I can't believe it's been that long.
In both of our lives. So not only were we at a great starting point together, but our growth pattern has been similar as well.
Yeah.
And pushing each other to do different things. is part of the reason why we've grown so much. I do want to go back to the point you made about 1995, even though you made music for so long before that, but 1995 feeling like almost like the starting point, for lack of a better term. I think that's important for artists who are starting to treat their work as a business to understand that imagery, especially with music, is such an important part of it that, you know, as you mentioned, even your workflow in making the music has started to change now because you can see how it all comes to life. And it's almost like you unfolded that second half of what music is as you kind of decided, okay, well, we need someone who's on our team, who does video and photo, who's close to home, you know, to help bring these images to life. And then, I mean, look at where it's got us now and like the kind of the fire under us to do more stuff.
To keep going, and to create more appealing stuff. Like, I think with 1995, like, we're talking about growth, and as an artist, I feel like it's important for you to see yourself through photography and videography, because not only are you actually understanding, okay, is this the right vibe visually for this track, but you get to look back and be like, okay, I could do that different. I could be more flamboyant here, and like, you know, expression. Okay, I need to do more with my face. Like, just those little things to be more to get better for the next time. And that's something that's really helped me, because the first couple sessions that we've had, I'm, as much as I am like an outgoing person, I'm really not. And he knows that by now, but I like behind the scenes. You know, I started as a producer. I just wanted to make beats for them to be the face, you know? So,
and I would say also, not only does seeing everything come to life when you start to make videos and photos and put together music videos and see that whole process, not only does it highlight potentially some criticisms you have towards like what you can do better, but I think it also like shines a light on the reinforcement of, this music speaks for itself, and when I hear it, like I definitely understand where it's coming from, and like, you know, when you make a good song, like, this is a good song, it's true to me. But when you see it also, it adds an extra level of reinforcement to like, yes, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, people who might not be able to just pick it up from the ear I'm adding now all of these other elements to be able to continually reinforce the idea of like, this is who I am, this is what the song means, you know?
It builds connection. First and foremost, like, especially like, so going back to audio versus visual, it's like, especially like this day and age, we are in a day and age where, and this is just my opinion, but I'm sure you agree, is that and it sucks because I'm a music first person, and there's a hard but there, because the music isn't as important as the visual this day and age. I mean, how many people are on Instagram but the sound is off, right?
Absolutely.
So you're just scrolling through a video and like you stop on a video because it looks cool. That's step one. It's how does it look? Then they click, how does it sound? Like, is the vibe okay? And that's not even me listening to the beat or the lyrics. And then third, is the song good? So like, there's a pedigree to this formula that we've instilled over the past couple of years. And I really think, so 1995 was the start, a little shaky. On me, but I want to give props to you, because there's no one else that I have that pushes me like you do in those uncomfortable things. Like the amount of times where we're doing just stuff like this, taking photos or videos, and you're like, just trust me. Just do it. You're going to look weird, but just trust me. And then I see the product and I'm like, okay, now I see what he was talking about. I'm thankful to have you for that. And also that we have built this relationship where the trust is there, and I can go, okay, I'll look weird for a minute. And he's going to make me look cool.
You know, I feel for artists who do it all.
That's a real thing.
Not only, to your point, in today's age, you have to do so much to capture a viewer. You know, in the 80s, it was just word of mouth. You know, you hear a good
That's it.
mixtape, you show your friends at a party.
Yep.
Next thing you know, everyone's listening to the mixtape. You go buy it down the street. That's just not. Now it's like word of mouth has become DM to DM. You know, so not only do you
Share
have to
to
track
share.
those people online, yeah. And when was the last time you heard someone be like, "Hey, this is great," and you're like, "Well, pull it up on your phone." You know what I mean? And I mean, imagine being an artist. You have no visuals and no second step for a consumer.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you expect people with our like the type of
The field that we're in. I mean.
yeah,
it's just-
I mean, how do you expect to get them in the door and listening all the time unless you have all these different touch points with a listener? I mean, it's
Yeah, and I mean, by no means are we saying that we've cracked the code.
no, definitely not, man.
We're
Don't look at the
still-
1995 content and you think we cracked the code. I
We're
mean, we were
still figuring it out, but these things take time.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said about like the independent person who does do it all by themselves, like congratulations, because
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, this dude edits all day long, and I'm working on music all day long, and it's like I can't imagine having to switch that hat.
no, definitely not. And having a second set of eyes
That's important.
through someone that you trust is very important. Not only that I can say, hey, I've done this. Like I promise this photo will turn out how it's supposed to. This video will be what we say it's going to be. That level of trust gives you a little bit of relief, and also two people looking at it and saying, I think this is dope. I think this is dope. Most of the time we look at each other and we're like, we can't both be that far off, you know. But
not that
that, you know,
stupid, right?
that sentiment is super helpful, and I would say we definitely don't have it figured out, but through working together and at least trying, we've put these concepts into practice that we thought were
Yeah.
great, and we've seen exactly what actually is great, and that is the step forward. That is the progression into the future. Is okay, I thought this was great, I had to try it. Now I've gotten reinforcement about what is great. This is the step that we go down, and it's led us down this path of some really cool shit. So
Very cool shit. I think it's important. Like when I first started making music, and so I'm applying that to the visual aspect now. But when I first started making music, like your first song is your worst song.
yeah,
Your first visual is most likely gonna be your worst visual. But the important thing is to put it out.
absolutely.
Put it out, understand, learn, and
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah.
And that's all we've done through each of, now this is our third project, visual project together.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest one. It's the
Yeah.
best one.
Yeah.
You know, I think we got trippy with Misplaced Faith, and I like
We
that.
did, yeah.
And it made me feel comfortable. But okay, we'll get there. 1995 starting point, pretty much figuring out comfort zones, how to get out of them, what we need to do. And it was a little bit difficult with that project because there wasn't a lot to that project. It was a hip hop project.
Yeah.
That wasn't like when I made it, I was like, I just want to go bar for bar with anybody. I just want to rap.
Yeah, it was bar for bar, direct to consumer. I mean, like
Right.
straight up.
There wasn't like, what can we do to make it more appealing? It was like, let's go in this parking garage and just fucking rap in front of this
Yeah,
camera.
let's just let them hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And so then, what was the time period that we started working together? I think it was like March 2021. And originally, it was, we signed with y'all for Misplaced Faith. Do you remember that? Because remember we did that interview series in my
Yeah,
studio?
you weren't even supposed to put out 1995 yet.
And I remember I was going back through, because literally if you start on Instagram and go from like the first post down to like, you can tell when we started working together, but just that like growth from there to where we're at now is insane.
Yeah.
But I was going back and listening to those old interviews, and we were talking about, you were like, so tell me more about Misplaced Faith. And I was diving into that album, and then you were like, do you have anything else coming up? I was like, yeah, at the end of the year, I got this rap project that I've done, and we're gonna, shoot visuals for that. And then I don't know when that switched, where it was like, no, let's put out 1995 first.
Well, I felt like we still had the summer to take advantage of, and we thought, 1995 felt more like
That's right.
a little upbeat, it made a little more sense. I think the timing, and we wanted Misplaced Fate to touch down in the fall.
Which is,
It worked out both
still,
visually and just like the vibe of the music.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was more upbeat, like summertime.
yeah,
Let me just rap. But with Misplaced Faith, I mean, Misplaced Faith still didn't come out till like that next. It went for like another year after that, which is
well, we
crazy.
had some time with 1995 for sure.
Yeah.
We spent a long time on it.
Yeah, I think.
And we were working through the kinks hard for a long time.
Yeah, I think we definitely exhausted 1995 as much as we could. It was only a 7-track, little mixtape thing, but we did the most with that guy.
But still, it's a testament to trying, like it's a
100%.
testament to being like, you got to do this all the time. You have to accept a lot of failure.
Yeah,
You have to really embrace your wins.
yeah. I think I have a problem with that. It was the other day, my mom was calling me about how this song's dope, and I think it was like an article got written about the album, about the garden, and she was just telling me how awesome it was.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, but it's like, why is my first thought, but it's not enough? It's like, I hate that, I really think that celebrating the small victories, whether that be a post on Instagram, that's a small victory. Like, look at the work that went into this.
Yeah, but I mean, that's everybody. The hindsight is going to be the killer. And I've explained this to you before. I was like, man, the first show you do where you're like, oh, 1,000 people are here is going to matter way more than the 50th stadium, if, you know what I mean? That you do that's like 10,000 people are here, you know what I mean? And you're going to be like, I wish I could get that 1,000
Right, just that feeling.
show back,
Yeah, that's something I'm working on. This doesn't need to be a therapy session. But
Yeah. But,
it's important because I feel like every creative person goes through that. It's like you're so focused on the next thing that you're not enjoying the thing you're in right now.
Yeah.
And the thing you're in right now is just as important as the next thing.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about the creative process, because I think it puts us in a good place to talk about what we're moving into. And, if you look at Furlow's work and the type of stuff we've put out so far, it's been mainly post-production, meaning like the music's done, we're ready to present it to listeners. And we're trying to package that in a really nice way. And it's, we've gotten to a place where we're very comfortable with that process. And now we're kind of exploring it like, I think what for most people would be the first step, but we're kind of going in an opposite order of, okay, we've got the last piece put together, and now moving into the future, we're doing more stuff of like you in studio with a band, you making the music and the origins of the music, and kind of seeing the background and learning more about your creative process in general,
Yeah, I think something that we both related to in like the early days when we first met was those John Bellion videos of him making the songs in the studio, and just the visual aspect of that and the creative process of that is like, that is just so cool. And even when we first started doing content, I didn't even have a band then. I've gathered the band over the years, just piece by piece. Like some guys didn't show up, so we called another guy, and now that guy's a staple. It's just like, and it's been fun to do it that way. And it's a cool turning point for both of us, because I've never made an album with a band in studio with live instruments and going about it, that process of really creating an album from scratch with just ideas that I have, and let's make it come to life. And visually, I think it's gonna be super fucking cool.
Absolutely.
Because it's gonna, the viewers, the listeners are gonna get the behind the scenes of, okay, how was this song made? And those John Bellion videos just are everything to me. I still watch them, like seen them a million times.
The making of John Bellion, if you don't know, now you know, go look them up. And if you feel like Furlow's content moves in that direction, it's because it is. Not that we're copying directly, but we are inspired like crazy by John Bellion, by his behind the scenes work. I mean, it's art in its purest form. It's where like art and the artistic process and music meet, and like is displayed for an audience like beautifully. So we're trying our best to get there with Furlow, and yeah, if there's any testament to like we don't have it figured out, is everything
right
you
now.
just said of like we're just getting the band together. We're just now figuring out that piece. It's funny to sit here on this couch and act like we're wrapping up an album, obviously, and there's intention behind this video, but you kind of sit towards the camera And I think people assume, well, these guys got to have it figured out, you know? And it's like, well, this is just an homage, like, this is kind of just a celebration of our work and our process together.
Right.
And that is still in the baby step.
Oh, dude, we're not even
in the
close.
baby step era. And I think that's an important thing to talk to people about, is as you grow, as this whole collective grows, it's like, we also acknowledge that we're just at the baby steps, you know?
Yeah, I think, I mean, everything takes time.
Yeah.
And I never focus on how long it's going to take. Just do what you love and keep grinding and trust it, and it's going to work out. Whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
What is it working out look like?
Sure.
To you, right? I mean, it's different for everybody. But yeah, this next project is exactly a testament of what we've been talking about. I have like a couple demos. We're gonna get in the studio, we're gonna shoot the shit and figure it out. And I know it's gonna be dope. I trust his vision, and I trust myself musically to where I know it's gonna be cool. And I'm actually super excited because we've essentially been doing the same thing for the past 3 years.
Sure.
You know, different projects, different songs, different visuals, all the thing. But it's like what you said, the album's like pretty much already been done.
Yeah.
Let's select a couple songs, do content for that.
Yeah.
With this, it's like literally like, I'm assuming there's gonna be some videos of us in the studio of like, where are we going with this? Like, I don't know, but let's figure it out.
Not knowing what's happening and exposing that process to people of knowing, like, you know, and even when you, like, we did a lot of interviews for The Garden, and even talking to those artists, it reinforces the ideas that you're speaking on of, it is about the feeling of like, well, where is success or going in the right direction? What does that mean to you? Is it a dollar amount? Is it an amount of streams? Are there analytics behind it? And as we talk to these artists, you know, some much larger, some smaller, somewhere right in between, it is based on the feeling of like, well, how am I feeling? Is this something that is continuing to light a creative spark in me? And am I going to be happy doing this in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the most important thing, especially in this industry, and really in any creative industry, because it's this fickle thing that, like, I don't know where it's going to go. I just know that wherever it goes, I also want to be there.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's cool. Shout out to the guys, by the way. You know who you are.
Big shout out.
Yeah, that was really cool to interview those guys, because every guy that got featured on the album, I know for a fact that the thing that is truest in their heart is the music.
Yeah.
That's what they care about. They care about, how can I deliver the best product? And that is so important, because through this musical journey, the amount of people that I've met that are just like, just doing it just to do it, right? Doing it for the look of it, doing it just so they can say that, hey, I'm a rapper. It's like, that. Where's that gonna go? Like, you gotta really believe it and really trust the process. And that's what was so cool about The Garden, if we want to go into that. It was a testament to that. Like, I've met these amazing artists individually. Everybody's super talented, and I just thought to myself, how can I create something that will highlight all of these guys, including myself, but more importantly, just the scene.
Yeah.
Look at how dope Dallas rap is, how dope Austin rap is. Guys in San Antonio killing it. Shout out to Q. There's so much talent that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And how can we expose, I'd like to say, the world to the talent that is right here in front of us? Your friends, friends, like, they're dope people.
Yeah.
How can we do that? And I think that we executed that so well with The Garden.
Yeah, thinking, you know, looking back on The Garden as just a listener, you kind of see it as this thing of like, here's an amazing group of individuals who have a lot of commonality of like, we're Texas-based artists. We're, you know, no one in here is Tupac by any means, you know, but we all share a crazy love for music, and this is what it looks like for a bunch of people to get together who just love music to just make music.
Yeah.
You know, even from the process of how you sent the music and had them hop on to them, their ability to talk so freely about it over interviews and just
Yeah,
like
that was nice.
the energy was the same across the board of like, yeah, we're making music for the love of music. We're a bunch of people who love music. And yeah, to see the talent, the variation of talents in so many different fields through all these guys is like, they're everywhere.
Going on with the garden, it was so cool to see everybody's different styles and workflows, and that helped me because it was my first time working with others in general.
Yeah.
I've only ever produced, recorded, written, mixed, and mastered everything myself. So it was cool to be able to see everybody's different workflows and styles. Like, and what was really, really cool was that, like, so I made all these beats and would send them out to the guys, and the ones that they liked, they recorded it themselves and then sent it back within like 3 days. I'm like, this is awesome. Because in my mind, I was like, it's going to take months. It's going to take a long time. Everybody has different schedules and stuff, so I understand. But that was really cool. And then just the amount of love from these guys gave me so much confidence. And it was cool seeing them when we were doing the content for the songs. You know, some of them having a lot of content on their pages, some of them having no content, some of them having just a little bit, or they do it themselves, what we were talking about. To see the repertoire and understanding that we've built over the years translate with others, that was really cool for me to see, of how you used to direct me and help me out and still do. You being able to work with them, and just the response was great. And every single content session that we did with these guys were just
absolutely.
So
and I'll tell you, I mean, it was big for me too, as a videographer and a photographer, to work with other artists, because you know there is no blueprint for what to do. You see it with these artists. You know, we worked with a lot of different artists. All of them have different ways they write, different ways they make content. Do they even put visuals into their music?
Right.
Or they just, you know what I mean? There's no, it kind of was a reinforcement of, okay, these are the steps we've chosen to take, and are other people who we respect in the industry, are they like understanding of what we're trying to do?
Yeah.
And through exposure and meeting with these guys and working with these guys, everyone was so on board that it felt like a reinforcement of what we were doing.
No, I
you know,
felt that.
me as the, you know, there was a lot of pressure there of like, well, I don't want to let these guys down. I don't know what their videographers or their photographers do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in all that. So that was a great reinforcement to us of like, oh, our process is also dope.
Yeah.
They love the stuff that we did. And it was just, the whole thing felt like a huge celebration.
It did.
And a huge collaboration of like.
I mean, it still does. It's not over.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, I guess I'm just speaking on what it felt like in the moment, doing it, you know? And not only that, like, man, the songs that came out of that project, I mean, we can touch on the visual aspect all day long, but the songs were so fucking good.
I can say I'm my worst critic. Like,
Sure.
I'll listen back to the 1995, and I love Misplaced Faith too, just because of the raw emotion in that album. Like, that's exactly where I was.
Well, I love Misplaced Faith. I will go at bat on somebody that's one of the best albums of all time, but it is what it is. Continue.
No, that's what I'm saying. I agree, because it's just that emotion, and it was perfect for that, and still is, whatever. But I'll go back and listen to some older stuff and be like, oh, I could have done this different. You know, maybe you shouldn't have came out with that song. But that's just where I was in that moment.
Sure.
But with The Garden, there was so much pressure when I was producing for it, because that's where it all started. Okay, let me make beats for this project, and then you got to think about, well, what kind of vibe do I want this album to be? How do I want it to sound? And then it got to the point to where when I was reaching out to these guys and they were saying like, yeah, dope, send me beats, we'll see what happens. I was like, okay, let me make a beat that they would sound good on, but also I would sound good on. And so, but it really, my best work came from that.
Yeah.
When I finally realized that I don't know, like, it's not all about me.
Yeah.
You know, and it made me like have more fun with it. It's like, okay, what's a beat that he would sound cool on? Like, that's fun for me to make.
Yeah.
Instead of me just making stuff for me and thinking, would I sound good on it? You know?
Yeah.
So, but through that project, the amount of great songs that came out of that was wild.
Yeah, and you know, even though, you know, your name is first or whatever, or it is your project, you made a feature project that felt as much in, as far as even in the creative process of it, felt like a collaboration of these two
Yeah.
forces rather than, hey, I've got this thing going on, do you want to be a part of it? Rather than like,
Right.
it became more, and it's the way you set it up and the way you wrote and created the songs was like, I made this because I thought,
I made this for
you. Like, you know what I mean? Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it even goes into, you know, it further reinforces the metaphor of the garden, which is, well, I mean, we got to talk about the metaphor
Yeah.
of the garden. I mean, it's so beautiful for the phase of our careers, like where our trajectory's at and what that project was. I mean, it's such a perfect way to package that.
Yeah.
As a garden, you know, we're really starting to flourish and plant our seeds in the community.
Yeah.
And we have this space, you know, we created out of thin air, you know, this is from concept to product, you know, it became this thing of like, I want this space, I want this greenhouse where all these people, where all these amazing rising artists can be and grow and show their talents, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, sure. I would say that's not only just the garden, but this album. Then yes, the garden. But this album was my favorite from concept to product.
Yeah.
That whole process was so much fun because we did get to have more creative freedom with it. Like, okay, how, you know, like we outside, like that's fun. Okay, like Zay, his energy's cool. So how can we visually match his energy? And it's like, I just loved that whole process of it. And it's crazy because the garden, the whole concept started from a drunken fight that I had with Tyler, my brother. And there was another rapper at the time that he wanted me to do a song with. And that rapper, like, we were at Select Start in Dallas, shout out. And he took this rapper, I'm not gonna say names, but he took me outside and he was like, hey, listen to this song, I'm wondering if you want to feature on it. So he showed me the song. Wasn't a bad song. It just wasn't where I was creatively at the time, like what the music that I wanted to be making at that time period. So I went up to my brother and my brother was like, what do you think? I really like this guy. And I'm like, I don't. Right now, you know, it's just not, creatively, it's not where I want to go.
Sure.
And it turned into this whole big thing about how he thinks that I should work with other people. And I'm like, no, I like to trust myself and my bubble, my comfort zone of like, I know what I like to do. I don't really want to put my work in other people's hands if it's not the right hands, right? So it all started from this whole argument, and then I was doing, and I'm still doing, but these local open mics, the pre-roll. Shout out to Jay.
Shout out to Jay Soulja. Shout out the pre-roll.
100%.
Shout out.
I promise you, we wouldn't be on this couch right now if it wasn't for the pre-roll.
Definitely not, man.
I mean, it's crazy how much that has instilled confidence in me to be better, to write better, to perform better, to see it. But stemming from the pre-roll is, that's how I met all these guys. All these talented artists, they were on stage, and I was like, that dude's super dope. You go up to them after they get off stage, hey, I'm Furlow. You know, I produce whatever, and hopefully the guys would second this, is that I would never sell first. I feel like it's big, like we're both humans at the end of the day. Like when we go to bed at night, we're just human beings. So go up to them, introduce myself, and then try and strike up a conversation, try and just hang out throughout the night. Like, you know, talk about music and all these things. And then, you know, before I leave, be like, hey, Instagram, let's, whatever, I'll DM you tomorrow. And then DM them tomorrow and be like, hey, it was nice meeting you. I got all these beats. You want to check them out? And, you know, I met a lot of people that way, and some fell through and some worked out. You know, the garden, look at it.
Yeah.
But through the pre-roll is really when that drunken argument started to grow in my mind, where it was like, there are a lot of dope artists, and it would be cool if we could have one song together. You know, it started with, I just want to have one other feature on a song, and that started with Q, with the Reaper.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Shout out Q, man.
Q is huge in this.
God, I love Q, man.
Instrumental in this whole project.
Shout out the Reaper, that song.
Still goes hard. But at that time when the Reaper was made, the Garden wasn't even the concept yet.
Yeah.
Because the Reaper came out as a single a year and a half before the Garden even came out.
Yeah.
So it was that moment when I first heard someone else on one of my beats and on a song that I made that I was like, it was like adrenaline hit. It was like a drug where it was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, and then I was like, can I get other people? Yeah. Is there other people that?
Well, then you
that
went
would
0
think
to
this is
100,
dope?
and you said, you know what?
I'm
Let's
gonna
just
get
make the
everybody.
whole. Let's just get everybody that we can get. Yeah, he came to me with the idea of this project, and me looking at it from the point of like, is this attainable in the time frame we want to get it done in?
No.
I was like, probably not, but we'll try it.
Yeah.
And I mean the you know, even artists on the project gave you your flowers, because you're very quick to be like, well, this is y'all, and this is, you know what I mean? And you're very quick to dismiss your own work. But, you know, I think Zay probably said it best, handing you your flowers of like, that was a lot of work to get these people.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
To get these guys together, to form this community and have it be a cohesive project that really works together.
Yeah.
When there's so many different personalities on it, I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that was I wouldn't say the toughest part, because the guys made it so easy. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Like, we're talking about, is this obtainable in the time frame that we're looking to release the next project and get all the work done? But the way that it all unfolded is that it went from the Reaper that dropped in October, and then by January, you know, just DMing and hitting up these guys and sending them personal beats, like, hey, and then it went to where I already wrote the first verse, like, here, you want to throw something on this, like, I already had most of the album done by January.
Yeah.
You know, from October to January, just because these guys the quick turnaround made it all easy.
Yeah.
You know, because they're so talented. Yeah. And I really feel like I met the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
And the right time in their creative process to want to be a part of this. And I remember it all started after we got the songs. Starry Nights was the last song to come in, and I just remember I was like on my knees at Walmart. You know, I'm just kidding, but I was like, oh my gosh. Like, Scuttino's writing is so insane. Also, I mean, shout out to all the guys. I could spend 2 hours just breaking down all the guys. They're all amazing. But it started with, okay, so the project got done, and going back to the pre-roll, like, the whole concept after the Reaper was, it wasn't even called the Garden at the time. I think I wanted to call it Bouquet. I wanted to call it the Bouquet album, because it's like flowers.
Sure.
Because like the concept is they're like giving people their flowers and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it got so much deeper for me after getting to know these guys.
Yeah.
Of the mutual respect of them looking at me like, look at you. Wait, you got all these guys together? And I think that also helped, because like when I hit up Cush, he was like, wait, you got Soulja and Pierce on this? Okay, bet, I'm out. You know, it's like, it makes it easier when they have their respected peers also on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it kind of worked out that way. But I really just wanted to give everybody their flowers, is how it started. But then it turned out to where it was like, this is more than me giving everybody their flowers. Like,
Yeah.
we're all the garden.
Absolutely.
We're all giving each other flowers. Like,
Absolutely.
it's not about me saying, look at this guy, look at this guy, look at that guy. It's
Yeah.
about all of us building a community. And it was so cool because, like, at the time, Q didn't know Cush, and Q heard Cush's verse and was like, who's that guy? I was like, that's Cush. And he was like, do you have his number? I was like, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, you know, I don't know if they're working together. Hopefully they have a track coming out or something like that. That'd be cool. But
That would be cool.
like that, creating the web.
Yeah.
And it didn't start with me by any means, but how can I extend this thing, you
Yeah.
know? How can I help carry the vision? And I'd say really it started with Jay creating the platform for artists to perform and meet. The biggest part of the pre-roll, as much as it is you get to perform the one song, it's about networking. It's about
Absolutely.
talking to other people. How can we work together? You know, how can we help each other out down the road or right now? So shout out to Jay. If it wasn't for him, Garden wouldn't be here. That's true. But I thought it was super cool when album got done. Okay, how can we visually do this thing? Calling the guys and just letting them know, hey, this is what we have the idea for. Them being so on board with it, and then the amount of respect that they had for you and your vision really made me like love these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love these guys.
Same.
It was a weird. It's weird how these guys got selected. Not really because it's their talent, but like I feel like it's rare to meet 8 or 9 guys all conceptually have the same vision moving forward, and the amount of respect between everybody, ego aside. Like, it's not about you or me or this person, it's about us.
Yeah.
And they all understand that.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so cool that they stepped into our world for a minute, what we do visually, and respected it and loved it and are reposting it and
Yeah.
it just like, that's beyond my expectations for the project when we first started it,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, and it does make sense, and I think the garden can always stand as a symbol of like your willingness to collaborate and kind of the start of a full-fledged collaboration. And I mean, what a great thing to look back on, like, you know, that for all intents and purposes, like the garden, I have no doubt will change the course of both of our careers, and like without the garden, what we are doing next year will look a lot different than what we're actually doing because of it. And we'll be able to look back at a symbol of like, it was a reinforcement of everything, of the idea that there is so much talent in Austin and around pre-roll and in Dallas and in Texas, that all of these guys are on board with what we're doing, and that it's a lot easier than we thought, really, in hindsight. We thought of this project as this big mountain that we had to climb, and then you start sending these things off to these guys who are incredibly talented, and they come back and it was just banger after banger, just so many exciting moments.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is true.
That it just symbolizes a lot of growth for us personally and professionally. And, you know, I hope that as a listener, as part of an audience, that they feel that vibe too. They understand, you know, I think some of the purposes of these interviews are for them to understand more about where we are in our careers, how we feel about where we are, and what these projects mean to us. Because, you know, the garden might just be something that people listen to, pops on Spotify, and they're like, oh, I-35 is cool, you know? But the garden, you know,
one track.
I can't help but try and emphasize how much the garden really does mean and is such a game changer for us in our lives.
Dude, I mean, that's the deeper side of it for sure. Because it definitely has changed and will change our trajectory moving forward. Not only just from a relationship standpoint with these guys, I know moving forward, like, not only have I built a relationship musically with these guys, but like friends.
Absolutely.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I just think that's so cool because I want to humanize everything of like, these are just good guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Just a good group of guys who are extremely talented.
Yeah.
And it's like, why wouldn't you want to go listen to that album?
Q was one of the first like 10 people to wish me happy birthday. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Got you before I did. Yeah.
It really like, you know, and you can see these steps so clearly and where they're leading us to. And it's nice to take a minute in hindsight and be like, that was a step in the right direction. We're confident about it. There is no doubt in my mind that that step was a great step. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I can always look back at it as a great place that we went to
Yeah.
in our
it was
careers.
fun, man. It was fun. That was a fun thing. It's fun to perform.
Yeah.
You know, I got to perform Reaper with Q. I got to perform a couple charts with Pierce. Like, it's just with Zay. We outside. If me and Zay are ever in the same building and we're both performing, it's
You will hear we outside.
you
quite
will
a bit.
we outside, and we were outside.
Yeah, and it kind of just helped us.
That was a fun day too, doing the content with Zay
Oh,
when
absolutely.
we were actually outside.
Zay's a character, man. I
We're
talk to Zay all the
goofing.
time about random stuff. I mean, Zay's great. Yeah, all that being said, man, the garden will always hold a lot of weight and be a symbol for some great things that we did. And it's like, and it will set us up for success for future collaborations,
Yeah, man.
everything we want to do.
Yeah, that was life changing.
And yeah, please listen to it if you haven't.
Go
Please
listen
check
to
it out.
Garden, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the stuff.
Check out all those artists.
Yeah, and all the guys too. Don't just listen for me. It's not about me. It's about us as a collective. Like, all these guys, each individual have their own catalog of just amazing bodies of work. Please go listen to the album and also listen to their individual stuff. These guys are insane.
Absolutely. Let's talk about what's next
Yeah, we got some things creeping.
for Furlow.
It's crazy because ever since that, what's your favorite Mac Miller album?
I meant it would.
Oh, that's hard to say, man. Divine Feminine, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that. It was like a rhetorical thing where I was like, I knew the answer.
Yeah.
But I just wanted you to say it.
Yeah.
Ever since we started working together,
Yeah.
you've been like, "Where's the love album at?"
Yeah.
Where's the love? You keep talking about life and stuff, dude. You know, at the time it was my girlfriend, and then he was there when I proposed, and he was there at my wedding. Shout out. Yeah.
My Papaya.
Yeah, Maya. Shout out to Maya. My wife. Crazy. Yeah, he was always like, "Where's the love album at?" You know, you have an amazing woman. He didn't say that, but I'm sure he thought it maybe a couple times. You know, why don't you talk about her more, stuff like that. But that's where I'm wanting to go. I feel like I've spent most of my career so far talking about struggles in life and things like that, and that's amazing. And music has been my therapy and still is. But I want to touch what's something like conceptually. What is something I haven't talked about yet? What's something that I could help myself in another direction and allow myself to be open about my relationship and about love in general. It's like I feel like that's something I haven't like completely touched on yet, and it'll be fun. And what other way to do that is to have the band in the studio and us create these songs live with actual instruments and be able to get this message across the proper way. And the Divine Feminine is inspirational in that way because like his production in that album is like just very nice. And
Yeah.
you could tell that he like it's live instruments, it's like guitars, it's real drums, you know. So yeah, that's what I'm wanting to touch on, like not only about how amazing my love life is in my relationship, but also the struggles in relationships, you know, like mental health battles and having to learn from one another and the growth of being with another human and getting to understand them and the mutual connection. I think there's so much to dig in on when it comes to just something as simple as a marriage.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so much more.
And I'll say, you know, this is where the line between me and Trey's relationship kind of blurs. You know, I never want to.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, well, here's something to understand. I came to you, and we started working together, and I became a fan a lot quicker than I became a friend. You know,
Oh,
we
yeah.
are friends,
Yeah,
and we
that's
have
true.
become very close friends.
Right.
But I certainly hopped on board and was ecstatic about what we were doing because I was like, this music is awesome. So from, you know, my point of view, it's hard for me to look at someone who I know makes awesome music, and I'm like, this is kind of music I want to hear. Maybe I can just ask this guy if he can make it. You know? So
Yeah.
I never want to impede on Trey's creative process. But yes, I have been giving him a lot of shit. We know, obviously, if you don't know, Trey got married. And I was at his wedding. We knew a lot about the wedding coming up, and so I have made a comment or two about, hey man, where's that Love album? You know what I mean?
Right.
Where's your Larry Levinstein situation? You know?
Right. But what better time, you know?
Absolutely. And you know, I would say, you know, as far as Furlow's visual and creative process moving forward, you know, like we talked about a little bit before, it is all of this that has Trey excited, and in a way that we can show that behind the scenes and as close to home as possible, because I think as important it is to hear the music, it's equally important
Yeah.
to know who you are and how you do what you do.
And touching on that, you know, we spoke about it the other day. It's like, I feel like through every project we've established who Furlow is.
Yes.
And what the brand is, and it's the dude with the dad hat and the sunglasses who can rap a little bit. That. Okay, that's the brand. That's what we visually have represented. And with this next project and kind of where we're wanting to take this is like how to humanize Furlow. How can
Absolutely.
we show Trey?
Absolutely.
How can we show the guy behind the sunglasses, right? Like,
Absolutely.
let's dive into that. Let's dive into how does he produce these songs? How does he? I'm talking in third person, like it's not about me. But how do I have chemistry with the band and like direction and our relationship? It's like literally why we're doing this video, and I'm so excited for that because it allows me to metaphorically take off the sunglasses and be me, because a lot of the music that I've made is very serious. A couple songs are fun, but you know, I'm talking about deep issues. I'm talking about struggles about life or where I'm at in life, and usually it's very, I don't know, like I wouldn't say melancholy. It's not sad, but it's just very serious tone.
Sure.
But I feel like me as like a day-to-day human, I'm just a goofy dude.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to be silly and have fun and those things. Like, how can we show the world who Trey is as a person is what I'm super excited about.
Absolutely, and I mean, I'm just as excited. You know, it's from that. I constantly have to pull myself out of like fan mode, but from like a fan point of view, I've never seen you produce a song, or at least not like, you know, from start to finish. I've never seen your writing process necessarily. You know, I've seen you in only so many contexts working with a band, you know, and I'm actually excited to learn more about that. And it is the idea of, we worked really, really hard to make Furlow who he is. And it's like, how does Furlow want to look? We know how Furlow wants to look. We've learned so much about Furlow, and it was a learning process, and like it took building a relationship to understand Furlow. You know,
crazy because at first, like, we didn't know. I didn't know.
Absolutely.
I didn't know visually how do I want to be looked at.
Yeah.
But that's all. Like, going deeper into that is like branding is huge. Like,
For sure. Yeah. The last thing I want to say was, you know, we worked so hard making Furlow who he is and making sure that we understood Furlow, and our relationship and our roles in Furlow's lives, and now that that's established, I think it's going to be very, very fucking exciting to see now where is Trey and Furlow's relationship, and does Furlow always love Trey? Does Furlow, you know what I mean? Does Trey hate Furlow?
What's their relationship?
You know, yeah, it's Furlow. Yeah, and I know it's weird to talk through these concepts like this, but
it's real.
But
you know, every artist has, you know, there's a difference between J. Cole and Jermaine. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always going to be that dichotomy. I feel like that's the right word for that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to express myself as Trey in this next album. And what better way than to talk about where I'm at now as a husband and my relationships with the people around me. I think it's gonna be really, really cool.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a cool process.
But what can you expect? Please look forward to some behind the scenes, some John Bellion-esque material.
Hopefully the music.
A lot of
sounds like it.
musicians, a lot of amazing, like, raw sound that we're bringing to you guys. If you've cared to watch this video to this point,
Yes.
thank you so much for caring about the work that we do, the visuals we put together. Life is one giant learning lesson. Our relationship is like the embodiment of that.
Yeah.
Our careers are the embodiment of that, and we put everything on the line to try and make this something beautiful, something that people resonate with. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for even wanting me to speak. To your listeners, every time anyone comments, shares, likes anything, I see it, and it keeps me going in my own career and as my own person. So thank you, Trey, for everything that you do for me.
Yeah, and I mean, backing up on that, it's that, you know, it's sometimes I can't even like conceptualize how much I am thankful for you and what you've done, not only as a person, as a friend, but as a coworker, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm so proud of you of where we've started and where we're at now.
Yeah.
And I've seen you grow as a person. I know you've seen me grow. We've had our moments, and I'm just so happy and excited to where this is going to go. Like, you know, we were talking about baby steps. So everybody give their flowers to him. He is the guy out of everything that you see on Furlow and what has to do with Furlow. It's him. It's not me. Okay. I have a song. I bring it to him. It's like, where do we go with it? You know, how do we want to show this to the world? So shout out to Jaron. Get him on Instagram, Jaron Cass.
Jaron Cass.
Jaron Cass. Worked with him. You know, he's taking on other clients as well. It's not just me. So if you guys need some visual stuff like that, definitely hit him up. If you haven't followed me on Instagram already, it's Furlow_music. And look forward to what's coming up.
Yeah. See you guys soon.
Deuces.
Thanks, brother.